Hey, welcome to another edition of Trash Talk. We're
Yep.
here with you. We're awake. We got our coffee. We're ready to go. I think
I
we
just got
are.
out of the shower.
Yeah. So we're here. Brandon's still dripping wet,
I
but
am.
we're
I don't have any pants on,
so,
hanging out literally.
so here we are Tuesday morning, and Brandon's just hanging out with everybody.
What are you gonna do? It's hot in Texas.
But hey, in 105-degree temperature, it's the only way you can cool off.
Texas is awful. It's garbage.
We've also painted an incredibly
Yeah.
interesting picture to our
I would
audience.
show you the rest, but you got to go to my other website for that.
That's right.
At this rate, the way things cost, that's next on my list.
Yeah,
So
you're gonna also have to wait until it gets late at night too.
right.
Hey, today we're talking about reunions. There's
Oh,
all kinds of reunions, and a lot of them go on this time of the year, in the summertime, and all. And you got any reunions coming up?
no, man. I don't even want to see people I see on a daily basis. You think I want to go back and meet up with people? I mean, in all fairness, hold on. No. I guess we had it's not even like my buddy from Michigan, Steve from the Notes My Goats podcast, shout out. He came down, last 2 weeks ago for a quick 27-hour, round
Turn around.
robin text. Yeah. And it was good to see that at 44 years old, I still got it. You know what I mean? Like we did a lot in a crammed period of time. We left Bucky's at like 3:30 in the morning. I dropped him off at the airport by 4, and he got on a plane at like 5:30. So
But and that is one kind of a reunion. I think when you talk about reunions, people think immediately of either class reunions or
well, yeah,
sometimes family reunions.
family,
Those are
family, yeah.
probably two of the key. But when you get together with somebody that you haven't seen for a long time, that's really a
Yeah.
reunion of sorts.
I think so too. And this was a situation, with him living in Michigan and all that, you know, we all talk on a reg, whether we're on the
Right.
shows together, we're just texting, talking. I'm giving him random messages at like 4 in the morning, like, hey, what up, Um, but this is the first time he's ever been to Texas. Uh, I've only seen him, we've only hung out twice. And the last time was like a year ago, over a year ago. So that is a reunion of some sort, and I think those are kind of cool and to a degree. My buddy Ken from Michigan, he's been one of my best buds for years. It's down here in Texas. We essentially moved together, and then he moved back to Michigan, so I don't get to see him very much. He's coming down the end of September, and that is a reunion of some sort, and I don't mind those, because you are reuniting. I mean, that's what a reunion is, right?
Right. Exactly. And catching up on old times. I mean, I think we all kind of got a jump start to reunions too during COVID, because when
Sure.
people were locked down at home, you turned to the internet, and you had Zoom, you had various platforms where you could see each other on your computer, and you'd sit and talk and see each other. If you wanted to see your niece and nephew or whatever, bring them up on the screen and, oh, hi, how are you? I mean, that gave us a visual aspect, to replace that getting on a plane and flying someplace in order to have that physical contact with each other.
Yeah, no, I think that was, as funny as it sounds, there wasn't much positive that came from that, but that was one
Yeah.
of the positive things of people trying to find ways to be normal and see the people they love. Every Friday night, I think it was almost every Friday night, whether Luke was gone to bed or he was at his mom's, I would get together. There was an app at the time, and there were better apps, but this app was called House Party. And we would get together, me and my buddies, about three of us, maybe four. We'd all get on the House Party app, and it was like a big old Zoom party. And we would drink, and we would literally have our beers, like, because the breweries were open, you could buy beer to go. So we would get all of our craft beers and drink and talk, and we'd spend hours till inevitably somebody's phone or whatever computer was like done, or they just went inside. But I mean, I remember being out there 3, 4 hours drinking, sitting on the patio, catching up. I did it with my family.
Yeah.
And I mean, like family, like uncles and all that, and cousins. We did that a couple times. I had this group of friends for a while. Everybody just went their separate ways. Things happen, and we would, get together for happy hour or date night, we call it. And I think that was cool, and that was a reunion of some sort, because
Sure.
you connected. And then of course you have the school reunions. I know you went to one not too long ago.
Hey, you want to hear something interesting? Last Sunday, I hooked up virtually my back in the Midwest. My high school gang gets together every year in Northwest Indiana at this young lady's got a really nice house with a big pool and everything. And so the reunions we used to have every 5 years or so, she now has every summer at her home. Well,
Nice.
they hooked us up virtually with a Zoom call and all. And this was, are you ready for this, Brandon? This was my 60th high school reunion.
Man, how did they figure out how to work the Zoom call?
They had, well, put it this way: there was not a lot of dancing. Everybody was pretty much sitting with a plate full of food in their laps, but we're still connected.
That's
After
cool.
60 years. We still get together, at least once a year.
That's
Sometimes
great.
we'll get one. And that's the beauty of what Zoom allows you to do, is you can have a one-on-one reunion, or you can get 30, 40 people on a Zoom call, and have a reunion.
I tried to hook up with one of my old classmates virtually not too long ago, but her husband got mad.
That's
Oh, wait, that's not what we're talking about. My bad. My bad.
That's yeah. Well,
Oops.
That's called reunions gone bad, right?
We used to get together, so back in South Lyon, Michigan, Thanksgiving as we approach it, and just months away, guys, not to stress anybody out,
Right.
like myself. But we used to go, obviously biggest bar night of the year is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Everybody's back from college, everybody's families are in town, whatever. Well, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, we used to go to this place called the South Line Hotel. It's not a hotel, it's a bar. Okay. I've talked about it on the show, talked about it on the podcast, whatever. And it was a staple in my life. I mean, I worked there for a while, and it was just a staple. It sucks now, but it was amazing back then.
Yeah.
And it was a reunion. It was absolutely a reunion because everybody was back from college. You had different classes. So you'd have class of 97, class of 98, you know what I mean? And a class of 96. And it was a reunion, and the entire place, it was what you did. I mean, they make movies about this stuff. Matter of fact, I just watched a movie like this. You come in town, and that night you're hitting the hotel, you are drinking, you're catching up with buddies, making amends with ex-girlfriends, breaking more hearts. Like I could do like a month's worth of episodes just on the adventures of the South Line Hotel. And that was a great reunion. And I'll never forget, I had some of the coolest moments there for that.
Well, there also are a lot of people that will follow groups from their teen years. Some of these old groups that are having their reunion tours, and they'll go back and they will play some of those venues that they played back in their original and heydays. And that's when everybody calls and says, "Hey, let's all get tickets and let's all go back together and listen to that group."
Absolutely. There's a place in Philly, and I forget the name of it, that I used to go to, and they're notorious. They're amazing music. It's a great music venue, great bar, from local acts, unbelievable. Like any day of the week you go in, you're going to see somebody talented. It's so good. But I saw the Black Keys there, because they did we're going back and doing some of the venues that we used to play at before we got big. And I saw them there for like $20. Okay. And it's this small venue, and they're just up there jamming. But you know what was cool about it was that the vibe didn't change. You had people over in the corner dancing, people over there talking, people outside, and then the Black Keys are just jamming up there like they're a local band, and it was like their reunion. And they did that at several small club venues across the country. Those reunions are awesome.
Yeah, I know that there's a lot of solo artists, a lot of blues artists, and everything that at one time played the stadiums and everything, and they are now going out less often, but they're going back and playing some of those smaller clubs and making it a more intimate, like the old days. Now that happens a lot in Chicago at some of the small jazz venues. You had what was it, Cobo Arena in Detroit?
Yeah, Cobo, yeah, the old days of Cobo and Joe Louis and all that.
And every once in a while, just like when a band or something would come back to play Soldier Field in Chicago, or so everybody would say, "Oh, you got to miss it. You can't miss it because you don't know if it's going to be the last time they're going to be together."
Well, and Aerosmith is going on a farewell tour once again.
Yes.
But it's like when I saw Guns N' Roses like 3 years ago, and it was they said it couldn't happen tour because they had a huge falling out. I mean, massive years falling out. And I gotta be honest with you, it was one of the best concerts I've ever been to. It was phenomenal. 3 hours of just nonstop music, no breaks, rock, and those are the concerts you want to like go to. Those reunions are cool. I don't really care about high school reunions. I think school reunions, to me, this is my opinion, because of social media, they kind of fallen off. I catch up with everybody. Before we didn't have phone call, if we were lucky, maybe text. We didn't have social media platforms. We didn't have Zoom. We didn't have TikTok. So when you went to a reunion, it was a big deal. Now, if I want to catch up with a certain person from my school, I just look at their profile and check them out or talk to them via that. It's a lot easier. So I think the reunions are just not that big of a deal for me.
Well, and what it takes some special people in order to do it. You have to have a good committed committee of people that are willing to put forth the effort to contact and reach out to people and organize it and get the venues and get the restaurants and arrange for things and all. I'll send a shout out to my good friend Chuck Biller in Chicago, who was from our high school. He now, whenever we have a get together of reunions, it's usually 3 or 4 years together. Obviously because a lot of them are passing on, but a year ago, we had what we called the Last Look reunion at our high school because they were tearing down the high school that we went to after 115 years.
I remember that.
And also they arranged for a tour of the old school before the wrecking ball hit it. We went out to one of the old restaurants and all for a get together, went to an old pizzeria the night before. And they had a few things, and you could do as much or as little as you wanted over the weekend. And
that's really special. Like, that's cool. I mean, you said 115 years ago you went to high school. Is that what you said?
Yes. Yeah.
No, that's really cool though. Like that to me, that's one of those reunions and special events that's worth it. And nowadays, like, I see my high school putting together stuff, and no offense to the people out there that do it. You guys are doing a great job. I understand that. And I talk to you guys, some of you. I'm just not going. Like, I just ain't going, y'all. Like, look, you guys want to come to Texas, you hit me up. If I'm in Michigan, I'll hit them up. Hey, let's go to the brewery. Let's go to the bar. And there's several people in Michigan that when I get there, even if it's a short window, I always go to the one brewery. Shout out to Witch's Hat Brewery. And I'll text people, you guys want to meet me at the brewery? Whoever shows. If you don't, I'm still having a good time by myself.
Yeah. Well, and let's face it, this last reunion that we had last year when the school was being torn down and all, I think we got a couple of hundred people that attended that. But sometimes you go back and it's a matter of just getting a couple of dozen people together.
That's all you need. Look, that's all you need.
That's as effective a reunion as when you got 200 people too.
I agree. I kind of like the smaller ones anyway. And that's usually what would happen at the hotel, the Southline Hotel. We'd all have the big ones. And then as last call hit, split off. And then we'd either go to a house. A lot of times we'd go to an empty field to take us back to our field party days.
Yep.
And we're from Michigan, so cold don't matter. And we would literally just park the cars, turn the music on, crank open some beers, and sit in a field and just do whatever we did, and well, there goes my light went out. This today is just it's the wrap it up card. That's what it is. It's like when the Oscars and they play the wrap it up music. My light was like, bro, you gotta go. You gotta go to work, So sorry about the lights, guys. I'm not gonna fix it because I don't care. Yeah.
Well, as they say at the reunions, he's just gonna fade away.
I will probably fade away. I'd like to fade away from more people if possible. So,
well, folks, we'll let you all go now. If you get an invitation to a reunion, go, because they're usually a lot of fun.
Yeah, go once.
And it's especially what I always found at the reunions was the guys always look so much older and heavier. The girls had been divorced twice or three times or whatever, and they always back at the gym and starting to look a little good again.
So I'm going to say something completely rude and totally offensive, and somewhat cocky, and I mean it half jokingly. I do like seeing pictures of people that are either younger than me, B, maybe the same age, and I'm like, bro,
yeah,
you just quit, right? Like I'm not saying I'm the epitome and specimen of beauty right. and all that, and I can afford to lose some and get back in better shape. But when I look at him, I'm like, yo, you look way older than me, and you're 3 years younger than me. Like you're old, like
yeah.
I see somebody, and it's not the girls. Like I am not as harsh on girls unless they're awful people. I am not as harsh on women because look, being a woman is tough. Everybody judges you and like they age. Like guys can get old and nobody cares. But for women, people pick on them. That's not me. I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what? Be beautiful, be beautiful. But when it comes to guys, there's a couple of football players and I know who you are. I'm not going to call you out. And I watch you and I'm like, y'all gave up and just got fat, huh? Is that what you did? You're fat and your eyes look like, you just came out of the pyramids. What's going on?
Those are the cheerleaders always pretty much look the same, little bit older, maybe a little grayer hair, but the cheerleaders, you would say, yeah, I remember when you were a cheerleader. The football players and wrestlers would walk into the room and they couldn't even see their feet.
Right. I'm like, hey, look, did you decide to be a coach? Did you just you went to a brewery too much? Like you own a pizza joint? Like, look, again, I'm not George Clooney, but I'm like, let me tell you something. I know I look younger than you. And you know what? Thank you for looking like crap. So
right. Well, and thank you all for coming to our reunion here at Trash Talk. And we hope we'll see you again next week for another edition. Go out and make it a good one. Bye.